Hi friends, today I'm going to check out how to make yogurt by the not so regular methods. The regular method we all know is to boil milk and then allow it to be cooled down to a lukewarm temperature where you can hold it by your hand and then use the starter culture, place a bit of it on top of this and leave it overnight. Next day you get a frozen solid, not frozen, I mean nice solid yogurt. So today I'm going to check out the not so usual methods. This is called a starter culture. That is, starter culture means when there is already yogurt, the previously made yogurt that contains a lot of bacteria, the helpful bacteria that help make the milk into yogurt. So that is the starter culture. But sometimes you may not have that starter culture, and people are known to use either a slice of lemon, not slice, kind of a bigger one, and even more or less familiar method is placing two full capped chilies on top of the lukewarm boiled milk. So I'm more familiar with the first method. I do not know how these two methods work, and I'm going to show it to you. So for this, I'm going to first boil the milk. So I'm just going to keep it to a convenient temperature. Keep it about for some until it comes to a boil. So for a cup of milk, so probably it should be around maybe a couple of minutes. I'll press beverage 5 times, 4 times. I'll be back again. Okay, so the milk has now been boiled. You can see the layer of upper layer forming, fat layer forming upon slowly cooling. I'll wait for it to be cooled down. It's quite hot now. I cannot touch it. So until it comes down to a lukewarm temperature, I'm going to wait for a while, and then I'll pour it into each of these cups, and in one of them I'm going to squeeze the lemon, and in the other I'm going to place just these two chilies on top of that milk and cover them overnight. We'll discuss the biochemistry and microbiology behind this eventually. I know it's boring, but to juice up things a bit or make it boring, whatever. Okay, see you. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes or so. The milk has cooled down a bit. It's not really cold, I mean, come to the room temperature. It is just about lukewarm enough. It's just about the right temperature. The layer has formed on top. Normally for me this layer is very important. In this case I'm not going to bother much about that. So like I told you, it's going to be important for me normally, but in this case I'm just going to place it here. It doesn't matter. Okay, now I'm going to put equal amounts into both. Okay, now in one of this I'm going to squeeze the lemon. So this is supposed to, when left overnight, don't bother about the seed. I think it should be okay. The important thing is the juice. So I have put in the entire, I squeezed the entire half lemon. Okay. Now, in this, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to place this like this. I'm just going to mix it like they say, and mix this. Already you can see some small pieces forming. I'll tell you why they form. Now I'm going to keep them covered overnight, and when we come back we are going to see if yogurt has formed, and if it has formed, what is the consistency? Is it like this or whatever? And I'll be checking the taste of each one of them. So from now on it's overnight, and when it's tomorrow I'll be back again and show you the quality. Okay, bye. Okay, now it is nearly 7 to 8 hours after I incubated the lime juice and kept the green chilies on the other cup. So the left one is where the lime juice was squeezed. You can see it's already solid. It has become solid. So yes, by 8 hours you really have a formation of a yogurt with lime juice. And the explanation is pretty straightforward. Citric acid there kind of curdles the milk at a high temperature, and you have the instant formation of yogurt. As for the ability of this yogurt to serve as a starter culture for the next set, that we have to see. So what I'm going to now do is store this in refrigerator and inoculate it tomorrow for a fresh batch and see if this is going to be successful as a starter culture. So much for lime juice. Now let's come to this. Now I'm going to tilt it. I still see the liquidish nature. Nothing seems to have happened. I don't want to disturb it further. I don't want to put the spoon or anything like that. Probably it has formed, probably it has not. So right now it is still in the stage of formation according to me. Okay, it's still long time to go. It's going to be overnight. I'm going to keep it. Tomorrow I'll come and check. If it is not, I'll show you how the taste and consistency goes. Okay. I didn't wait for overnight in the fridge. This is the yogurt formed from curdling with the help of lime juice. It has set at 8 hours. It's quite solid. I'm going to test if this can be used as a starter culture. According to me, it should not. It's just curdled milk. So I'm just going to mix it here. I'm going to place it. So I'm going to keep this overnight, and tomorrow I'm going to check if yogurt was formed from that. My guess is it should not, because this is not from live bacteria, it's from a simple chemical process. Let's see what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay, so it's overnight and probably more than that. Let us see what has happened. Well, I don't think anything has happened. So the one with chilies, green chilies, nothing seems to have happened. Either I am doing something wrong or the method is not effective. I got to check back again later. Yeah, so now it's nearly more than 20 hours or so. So nearly 24 hours. Stuff seems to be happening. Yep, it has solidified. Yep, you see the stuff there. Yeah, it has formed. I'm going to take a taste and see how it feels. Feels like a jalapeno flavored whatever. Some milk that is still fresh in taste, but it's jalapeno flavored. Doesn't feel like the yogurt taste. So yeah, it has formed. Meanwhile, what I did was I tried to use the yogurt formed out of the lime juice as a starter for the milk, another milk. Truly, as I thought, it did not happen. So the yogurt formed out of lime juice did not serve as a starter culture. And that's not surprising because it doesn't have the helpful bacteria like lactobacillus and stuff like that. So you're not going to have any conversion there. So you do need a starter culture. I might try using this as a starter culture again. My guess again, it should not work because again, this was a chemical process, not a microbiological process. So that's what it is. Hi. So here is the deal with respect to the yogurt making. So I showed you the two processes, one by the use of lemon juice, where you squeeze lemon juice, and the other by the use of jalapeno. In both the cases, you did see the formation of yogurt. Now, here is the deal. The usual formation, the usual process by which the curd is formed, curd or yogurt is formed, is the helpful bacteria like lactobacillus. They use the lactose in the milk as a carbon source, and they convert lactose into lactic acid. Lactic acid gradually reduces the pH of the medium, and because the pH is reduced at a particular point, the protein begins to coagulate and crashes down and gives you that solid feel. So this is the entire process. That's all there is to it. The fat layer on the top, that's a different story. It plays a role, and I'll come to that later. And what gives you the flavor of the yogurt is the different types of cultures used. Lactobacillus acidophilus, Streptococcus cremoris, and there are a couple of other bacteria around. So that's what gives you the unique flavor, the byproducts the microorganisms release upon the breakdown. What happens here is a purely chemical process. So technically, if you were to reduce the pH of the milk, you are supposed to see the crashing down of the proteins, and you will get that gel. You are supposed to get that gel. That's what happened pretty much instantaneously after I added lime juice to milk. Now, what happens when I add jalapeno? I mean, not jalapeno, it was green chilies here. That's a bit interesting and strange. I do not know what is the chemical process that happens there. And that too, the proponents of it who say are particular that you keep the cap of that green chili on. And that should not be removed. There are a bit of variants here and there. I do not know one has to remove the cap, the crown from the chili or not. Whatever it is, there has to be some biochemical process there. Something has got to ooze out from the green chili over a period of time. Maybe if one were to keep the pH meter on top of the milk, you will come to know if the pH indeed drops, and if it indeed drops, what is the chemical that is coming out of the green chili, because that's what has to happen eventually. If the protein has to coagulate, something has to happen to reduce the pH, and that's what would have happened. So one has to do that experiment. I don't have a pH meter. Probably a pH strip or something like that would help me determine a different stage. But this is the basic thing between difference between formation of yogurt by the regular starter culture using a microbiological culture, the live culture, versus the one where you use some chemical methods like when you squeeze the lime juice, versus this semi-biochemical method when you use the green chilies. So there is a bit more to this, but these are my observations for now, my rationalization. Okay, thank you.